There we go. Hey, folks. Thanks for tuning in to the BAMF podcast. This is Savage BAMF, our look at all things in the world of Savage Worlds. Before we get too far into it, let me play our quick musical intro. And folks, that delightful musical intro assures you this is a high quality podcast, high production values, and the finest, ethically sourced, gluten free, geeky conversation for your podcast listening pleasure. Today, we're honored to have Mr. Pete Saloom from Percher Studios back. How you doing, sir?
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me back.
It's a pleasure, sir. Just to get the details out at the top of the show, tinyurl.com/Beacon Island. People can go and check out your Kickstarter, which launches tomorrow, right, on October 21st?
That's right.
Okay, and this is a new setting for Savage Worlds, correct?
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of things. I'm calling it a mini setting because Savage Worlds has many settings, and I wouldn't put this on the scale of some of the more well-known settings, a la, Deadlands or things of that scale. So I'm calling it a mini setting, but it really came about when I was writing just another adventure to publish, and it just kind of became more than that over the year and a half that we were play testing it and playing around with it. So now it is we've still written the adventure. So there's the multi-chapter adventure arc here, but we decided to open up the rest of the island to GMs and players to kind of do with it what they will.
Okay. I'm a fan of mini settings, done a few of them myself, because like you say, you have an adventure, but then there's enough of the world out there. It just seems like a little bit more. Let's talk about the flavor of Beacon Island. If you're listening to us on YouTube, you can't see it, but there is a really fun cover of some kids looks like they're getting ready to go on an adventure or solve a mystery. There's no Great Dane in view, but I'm getting a big Goonies vibe here. Am I far off the mark there?
No, you're bullseye. So big influence would be movies like Goonies, movies like Dreamcatcher, movies like Super 8, things with that kids coming of age and crazy adventure happenstance sort of theme going on. That's what I drew on. Geographically, I just wrote what I knew growing up in the Northeast, corner of the United States. So it is set, off the coast of New England on a fictitious island that is very much like coastal New England, and plays into that. I lean into the nostalgia of the 1990s because that's where, in my mind, that's kind of just what made me happy with where I wanted to set it. But I try not to force that nostalgia on anybody else. I tried to create an adventure that is just sort of standalone and is fun to play, regardless of your own personal feelings about the culture or times or how you felt in the mid to late 90s.
So there's no special rules for like slap bracelets or tagamuchis or anything, right?
There are some interesting rules for cool 90s electronics devices. So that is a part of it. The slap bracelets have dodged the bullet on this one.
Nice. All right. I'm going to scroll down just because I want to show off some of your art.
Yeah, I'd like to just, because you mentioned that cover, I'd like to shout out Lynn Redder, who is the artist on this project. All the art that you're seeing on this.
Lynn is in our comments right now.
That's awesome. She made this project much more than it could have been without her, and also was a pleasure working with her. And I look forward to working with her some more. So her style is fantastic. You can see it has a a cartoon or a comic vibe, but it's very unique. It's still rendered. She does some cool stuff with the way that she colors things as well. So it really gave that youthful feel to the book that I wanted to project. I guess since I'm shouting her out, I also have to shout out Carl. Carl Kiesler is doing
Oh,
the layout and all the graphic design for this project.
I had no idea Carl did layout. That's yeah, I've had him on the show a few times. That is awesome. So
So
I
he's done all the layout for all of my projects so far, except for one.
okay. Well, hey, while we're and Lynn weighs in and says the layout is fantastic.
Yeah,
Well, hey,
we've got a couple sample pages so far. Um, and depending on how the campaign goes, of course, we'll be getting into that pretty heavy in the next month or two.
cool. Since we have Lynn here, can I go ahead and share some of the art you got here?
Yeah, you
Okay.
absolutely can. And all credit to this is goes to Lynn. This is
Yeah.
not my creation. I just asked for it. So this is kind of a cool one that she did. This is a robot that finds its way into the adventure path that we've constructed here. These are you will probably, if you're a player in Beacon Island, you will probably encounter a number of these in your travels around the island. We call them SAS bots for short, but they are search and surveillance bots.
Mhm. I'm guessing these are tiny agents of a greater government conspiracy.
You're getting the flavor. I think you're picking up what I'm putting down here.
All right, fair enough. That is kind of cool. I like having them on a looks like sort of a small town or neighborhood signpost there. It's kind of a nice
Yeah,
touch.
he's just hanging out downtown right now, I guess.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at this guy, who I'm guessing is a man in black or a man in a
Yep.
tan suit, rather. But let me know.
Yeah, he's a man in gray, but the vibes are the same. And yeah, she wrote just borrowing my hands. Well, good thing that I am because my drawing is atrocious. So, um, absolutely. So we've got without too many spoilers, we've got a government conspiracy, government agency component to this setting that is really fun and nostalgic. It will harken back somewhat to the movies that I mentioned, but also like Men in Black, um, um, you know, other youthful sci-fi movies of that era as well.
Okay. Well, hey, let's get one last piece to share here, and this was I saved the best for last because wow,
Very cool.
that is creepy as hell, man. What do we have going on there?
Yeah, that is a little bit nightmare fuel,
Mhm.
but I love it. We call this the energy hound. So I should mention there's going to be a small bestiary included in
Mhm.
this book um, because we got creative with what we were throwing in there. So we didn't want to just throw in some descriptions of crazy beings and people without kind of getting into the details on stat blocks and how they can be run. Make it easier, make the GM's life easier. So we've done a lot of different sections in the book to try to make things easier. These guys are great because they've got no eyes, and all they do is their prime ability is they can sense and sniff out extraterrestrial energy. So they're like the bloodhounds of aliens, and they've got
Interesting.
a taser on their tail. So why not, right? I mean,
Yeah, I was
come
getting
on.
Stranger Thing vibe from them, but didn't realize there were aliens involved. So kind of well, we got a lot of influences here. I'm certain you've got at least one. There's one adventure in the Beacon Island book, right? Maybe a couple, but probably definitely at least one.
So basically, the adventure path that we wrote is called Lonesome Power, and in terms of its scale, it is probably somewhere between 5 to 7 sessions, I would think. Your mileage may vary, depending on your GM style, and how fast or how detailed you tend to run things. So it's a pretty good chunk an adventure or a small campaign arc.
Okay. Can you give me a little hint into the sort of adventure the kids? No spoilers, but just kind of.
Sure. Yeah, so the kids are finishing up their week stay at Windy Pines summer camp on the island. Um, and when they find out that the ferry back to the mainland has been canceled due to a very strange storm that has encircled the island, therefore keeping the tourists, civilians, and campers all stuck on the island for an indeterminate period of time. Um, Strange happenings start to occur shortly after that, and the kids are put in the position where they are going to have to make some decisions, some moral decisions on their own, and maybe pick some sides. And they're going to start to discover some darker secrets about the island that they weren't aware of while they were just hanging out at summer camp.
Okay. No, it sounds. I'm intrigued. I want to know more, but I don't want to spoil your.
Right. There's a tightrope walk. Yeah.
All right. So Goonies, E.T., Stranger. We're solidly in the kids on bike, getting into trouble genre here.
100%. Yes.
100%. All right. What all comes with the book?
Yeah.
There's the adventure. There's all this beautiful art. But I mean, if I'm looking at being a backer, what all do I get?
So I've broken the book down into 3 major sections. Those 3 sections are first the kids camper survival guide, I believe we're calling it, and that is the player facing section of the book. So that's everything you need to know if you're a player and you're going to come in and either make your own kid to explore the island or build off one of the archetypes we're going to provide you, which some of them are hilarious 1990s tropes that we've provided. It's also going to give you pertinent setting information that any of your kids would know, information on gear, all of that type of stuff. So that's helpful there. The second part is the Light Keeper's Guide. We've called the GM the Light Keeper in this setting because Beacon Island is very famous for its lighthouse, and that plays a prominent role both in the setting and in the adventure itself. So in that, I'm breaking down the various factions that are here on the island and kind of what their sort of starting positions on issues are so that you have some framework of how to run your NPCs. A full timeline of the history of the island goes back over a century, I believe, if my math is right. A gazetteer for Port Town, which is the main city. So that's going to cover all the places of interest, major people of interest. We've got a small encounter generator, card-driven encounter generator. And then, of course, we've got the map of the island and the map of the town, which is a detail map in that section. And then the last section is the adventure I was telling you about, Lonesome Power. Again, it's multi-act. I believe it's 5 acts right now. It's still being worked on, so that could change maybe by 1 act as we're kind of massaging stuff right now. We've got a bestiary we're going to include with important creatures and NPCs. We're going to create table tents for the pre-gens, as well as a blank printable table tent if people want to make their own, and the same with character sheets.
Okay, cool.
And this is not listed on here because we started it late. I'm sorry. We're also working on printable digital figure flats for the pre-gens, the creatures, and the NPCs.
Oh, that's an awesome idea. Okay, cool. So there's so many options out there for rule sets. What drew you to Savage Worlds for Beacon Island?
A couple of things. First is the same reason that I used Savage Worlds for my previous 2 books as well. It is that I can rely on one generic rule system that I can be creative in as many genres as I'd like. So the first book I released in was a Weird West book. The second was a sci-fi survival book, and this one is a modern day with a sci-fi twist type book, but all with one rule system. I love that because it allows me to be as creative as I want without having to learn 3, 4, and 5 systems and different licensing agreements and all of that, of course. And the Savage Worlds community, they have this appetite for multiple genres. They look to play and to run stuff all across all different types of styles of play. So I kind of want to make sure that my product line has something for everyone.
Cool. That is awesome. So we're launching tomorrow.
Yes. Yep.
Quick question. What's my entry level pledge? If I just want to, check it out, get the PDF. What's
Yep. So the entry, so the lowest tier. Boy, I want to make sure I get this right for you, because it is a confusing part of running Kickstarters, is getting all of your pricing in line and logical. I'll tell you that. I've learned a lot. So $20 is the entry level here, which gets you the digital copy of everything that we just talked about for the last 5 minutes there. There is an additional pledge level for print on demand for a soft cover book. This is all being fulfilled through DriveThru RPG. And there are a couple of other reward tiers, which I won't go into detail on right this moment. But what we've done is we've made some, what would I call them? Some bundles with other Pear Tree Studio stuff to be able to save people some money if they're interested in Beacon Island, but they're also interested in any of my other works. We've done some bundles that allow you to grab them all together in one place and save money on all of them.
That's cool. Leveraging the old back catalog. That's a cool move. All right. Very nice. Do you have any kind of early, boy, I forget the exact term, but early backer incentives, things that drive people to, back on the first day?
Just my pleasant voice and wonderful demeanor. I'm just
what you get from my gratitude, please.
Yeah, no, I did think about that. One of the options that we have floating around here, but we can't let it kind of run wild, is that we can get some beta copies of the adventure out with a Google form and allow, say, the first 50 or so backers into a feedback loop for us. This has to be tightly controlled because it can kind of run amok if you don't have some time frames and things like that that bind it. So it's not too late for me to still do that. I haven't implemented it yet. I know I'm down to the wire, but I won't get any sleep tonight anyway, so it doesn't matter. So that's something we are considering.
It's one of those things I see mentioned a lot, and people are thinking about Kickstarters. I don't see it actually implemented all that much, except for some of the bigger publishers. I see throw some of those out there. So I think maybe Pinnacle does that kind of thing. So I don't see a lot of guys on our level, small hobbyist publishers, doing that.
Yeah, I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah. I've people always say things. Well, hey, you should throw in that $200 pledge so you can run a game for somebody. And I'm like, I feel a little awkward offering something like that, but I guess if people
do that. So I will tell you, we do have one. I guess I'll call it one kind of god tier pledge option. We have limited it to I can't remember, but very few single digit number of them available. And basically that pledge level involves getting to have some creative input in a pertinent section of the book. And so there'll be some follow-up work should anybody decide to back at that level, where you'll have to collaborate with myself and our artist Lynn, and we'll work together on some cool stuff. So
yeah, I've done that on a few campaigns. Not that I would presume to give you advice, but if I was the kind of guy who gave advice, I would say,
please do
build in some guardrails on that kind of a tier. Just saying, asterisk, by the way, we get final say when it goes in the book.
Yes. So we have put in our fine print, although I have full faith and confidence in my community and all of our backers that they would only ever do the right thing. We have still put some bumper rails in there in the fine print to just, obviously we've got to make sure we have, total confidence in what we put out there for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, 99% of everybody's cool, but you get that one guy who wants you to put Batman in your book, and you can't put Batman in your book, and you got to say, sorry, I can't.
As much as I'd like to.
Yeah, it's sorry. There has to be a line somewhere. So I did a book several years ago, and one of the rules of this particular setting that I won't name was that there was no magic. Everything was science based, and one of our backers who brought it in a high level tier really wanted there to be zombies, and they had to be Caribbean voodoo zombies, and some angry emails back and forth. So we finally got things worked out. So yeah, it can be a time sink if you're not prepared for it. So
yeah, I remain optimistic. Your advice is you're not the first person to give me this exact same advice. So I know it is real, and there could be some level of complication there, but fingers crossed we deal with it smoothly and we get some awesome people that want to collaborate in good faith.
the Savage Worlds fan base is fantastic. A lot of cool people out there. So
absolutely. That's a huge part of this.
tinyurl.com/Beacon Island. Go check it out. It's going to launch tomorrow. Where you guys are running for 30 days, I think.
Yes.
So got 111 followers. You can be 112 right now. And come check it out. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And look forward to having you on in the future, Pete. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. This is fun.
No, this is a good time. All right. Well, hey, folks, that's it for tonight for Savage BAMF. We're going to be on again Saturday. We're having Star Anvil Studios on to talk about their Secret World. They're doing a print run Kickstarter. That will be this Saturday at 8 p.m. So that's Brendan from Star Anvil Studios. Come back. That should be fun too. Anyway, we'll hopefully see you on Saturday. And I need a good sign-off line. You got any suggestions, Pete? I'm trying to.
Oh, I've got to come up with it. Okay, well,
I was trying to crowdsource it, but you were the crowd that was here. We'll catch you next time. That's the way it was. Something like that.
See you all tomorrow on Kickstarter.
Go check out Pete's Kickstarter. All right, guys. We'll catch you next time. Thanks. This is Savage BAMF signing off. So
take care.